Hello, hello, hello. How are you guys doing today, this evening? Whenever you're watching this, it is currently 6:30 p.m. on Monday evening, and I've just been getting a bunch of stuff done around the house, and I've been kind of using today as like a cleanup day. Been cleaning the kitchen and cleaning the bedroom a little bit and straightening my clothes, and I feel like as soon as I get done with like, do you ever feel this way with laundry? As soon as you get like one thing done and like all the laundry is like put away, it's like 2 days later and you're like, how do I still have like all this laundry to do? So I was putting together laundry to do, and we were supposed to have our marriage counseling session tonight, right now at 6 o'clock, but our counselor texted us last night and said he was sick and asked us if we could move it to next week. So we moved it to next week instead. But at a different time, and which is totally fine. But anyway, so Alex worked until 6 tonight, and then he went and did his hot yoga, and then he should be done there probably in about the next 15 minutes. I have my phone right here so that when he texts me, I'll see it, because he is going to take me to Subway and take me to some other places that I need to run to. So anyway, so yeah, so there's that. Boo Radley is so funny. He's just like looking at me. What is it, Boo? You didn't eat very much of your dinner tonight, Boo Radley. He said, I don't care. I'm tired of that slop. Whenever I say that, like whenever I'm talking to my friend Valerie, she's so funny. She's like, he doesn't talk, he's a dog. I'm like, Valerie, when I tell the people in the vlog that, they think you're mean. She just laughs. She's like, I don't care. She's like, it's the truth. He's a dog. He doesn't talk. I'm like, Valerie! She's like, no. She's like, I think it's so cute. She's like, how like concerned you are about him and stuff like that. Me and my friend Valerie, we hung out last night. She, come here. She was like, she had been, visiting her boyfriend, and then she came home yesterday. So she and I got to hang out last night for a little while, which was really nice. It was great to see her. And she called me today and she was like, do you want me to like run you and get you some food or take you to the grocery store and whatever? And because she was going to Whole Foods and some stuff like that. But I was like, no, I'm just getting stuff done around the house and I'm trying to make some videos and whatever. But I didn't end up making that many videos. I made a drama video, and yeah. Been listening. Are you sneezing? You got the sneezes? And I listened to a bunch of my audiobook today. I'm really liking this book. What is that? Who is that? Oh, that must be that my video is done. I really like this book, I'm the Girl by Courtney Summers. I think it's really great. So yeah, do you want to come over here? Why are you being silly? Oh, and then last night, Alex and I, we got caught up on watching RuPaul's Drag Race and all of that. It just like, this is the thing for me now, and I even tweeted something out about this. If you're watching RuPaul's Drag Race, you'll know what I'm talking about. Like, they've shortened the episodes. So they went to MTV, and they've shortened the episodes now. But, okay, so, like, the original show is, like, shorter than it used to be. But they still have Untucked, which is the after show. And allegedly, I don't know if they did or not, but they shortened RuPaul's Drag Race so that they could have this new show called Friends of WeHo on. Which we did watch last night. It's just, it's really, it's not good, you guys. It's just not a good show. It's just, they were like fighting over all of this petty stuff. And I was like, of all of the people, I mean, there's like one or two like storylines on there that I think are like good for TV, that they're important, like as far as role modeling and things like that. But other than that, like, I'm just kind of like, oh, this show is just so vapid. It's just so, I don't know. And it's definitely not like how my friendships have been with other gay men. And I'm sure it is how some relationships are. I mean, it's just one perspective, right? But anyway, I mean, it's like grown adult men, like fighting. Like this one guy's like, well, I own my business. I'm not an influencer. And the other guy's like, well, I'm an influencer and you don't even know what that means. And it's like, I'm like, you're literally like 40-year-old men arguing over like who's more popular. Like it's so embarrassing and so ridiculous. And this is the example that MTV chose to put out about, you know, so anyway. But when you're watching RuPaul's Drag Race, like they do this runway part at the end of the show where like they have like a runway every week and the runway has a theme to it, right? Like last night it was tie-dye. And I mean, they spent large amounts of money to buy or produce these outfits before they come on the show, unless they make them on the show. Sometimes they have to do like make them on the show. But, you know, especially for like the all-star shows, I mean, they come out with like, these outfits that they come out with are like unbelievable, right? And so, but still, I mean, even though it's just a regular season, I mean, I think back on like some of the seasons that like Simone's outfits were just like unbelievable. I mean, there were just like so many outfits that just were like, I mean, they're not costumes. They're like literally pieces of art. They're so beautiful. And they've spent so much time like coming up with the concept and whatever. Okay, I mean to tell you, back in the day, previous seasons, they would like walk all the way down the runway and then they would go to the left and then they would go all the way to the right and then we would come back to the center and then they would go back down the runway, okay? Now it literally shows them and they come down the runway and go back and it's like that quick. I mean, it literally is like 1, 2, 3, next girl, 1, 2, 3, next girl, 1, 2, 3. And I looked at Alex and I was like, it even seemed quicker to me than the previous episodes that we had watched. And he said, haven't you heard everybody talking and complaining about this? And I said, well, I had. I said, but I didn't realize it was like this bad. I mean, this is really quick. We sat down to watch the show, and I mean to tell you, it felt like 20 minutes later the show was over, which it probably was with commercials, you know? So, I don't know, I'm just really disappointed. I hope that RuPaul doesn't decide to go, I hope the production team of WOW Presents, or whatever that is, doesn't decide to go with MTV in the future. I think everybody was excited because they're like, ooh, it's MTV and whatever. So MTV should be applauded for being so edgy in 2023 about having an LGBT-centered TV show on their channel. Are you kidding me? Like, seriously? Like, I don't know. Just, like, for me, it's whatever. Boo Radley, what do you think about it? He said, I like to just rest on my dad's lap while we're watching TV. He said, that's about my most favorite thing. It is. So, yeah. So, we watched all that. And then Valerini came and got me. And then we hung out for a little while. And then that was fun. And then tonight, I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to go get I'm so, like, craving a veggie sub from Subway. This is, like, my new thing. Like, I go through these things where I get, like, something, you know. Although I have to say that I love grilled cheeses right now. Like, I'm obsessed. Can I just tell you that deluxe, it's Nostalgia Deluxe grilled cheese maker. I looked online. It's like $34.99 because I like linked it to the video. It's like $34.99. It makes the best grilled cheeses in the entire world. It's not just that I don't know how to make one in a pan, which I don't. Even the ones that, like, people make me in pans and I've had made in pans and ones I've had in stores, like this one, it's like, I don't know what it does, but it is so perfect. I mean, it makes the most perfect grilled cheeses in the entire world. So, and I do love grilled cheeses, but I'm kind of over it. Like, I kind of want something different. So, I'm, like, been craving these, like, Subway subs. Right, boobs? You come over here? He said, no, I'm just my own person tonight. You're your own person. He just wanted to, like, lay in bed all afternoon. What was I going to say? So, yeah, I'm going to go get that. And then, and some chips. Some chips sound good, too, don't they? And lemonade. Oh, lemonade from Subway. That lemonade that I like, which I can't remember what it's called. And then I don't know what I'll watch while I eat. I'll either watch that manifesto of a serial killer or I'll watch Game Show Network because Alex will probably take a shower. I think he had lunch today, so he probably will. He'll make a big lunch. I don't think he'll be hungry for dinner. And then we'll probably watch something, or I'll just listen to my audiobook, Or Caroline got me hooked on that show, Your Honor, and I'm like, I finished the 3rd episode and I started the 4th episode, and I'm like 20 minutes into it or halfway through it or something like that. So I might watch more episodes of that tonight. But then tomorrow, big yawns, buddy. You're making big yawns, aren't you? Why don't you come over here with me? Why don't you come over here? Why are you standing up? Why don't you come over here with me and be friends? You want to be friends with me? Okay. You smell so good. I know. You look raggedy and you need a bath, but you smell good. You want to have a bath? He said, oh no, we don't need to do that. I would like to get up tomorrow and I would like to get quite a few videos done. What are you doing running away from me? Don't run away from my kisses. Yeah. You're the sweetest baby. You make me so happy. I think it's the sweetest thing. People always say hi to you in the vlog, Boo. They always say, hey, Boo. Do you know what's funny is, like, sometimes when I call his name, like if I say, hey, Boo, he won't look if I go, Boo. But if I say his whole name, he'll look. Boo Radley. Say, I go by my first and last name. Do you know who you were named after? He said, I was named after a character in the book and movie To Kill a Mockingbird. And I am a very gentle soul. One of my favorite scenes from that movie ever was, I think it's in the book too, but was at the very end when it's like the final scene when Jim and Scout, if I'm ruining it for you, the book's been out for, I don't know, 80 years now, so catch up. But anyway, and the movie. But anyway, it's at the very end when like Scout and Jim were attacked in the woods, and then somebody carries Jim home because his arm is broken, but they don't know who it is. And so Scout comes into the room, and Atticus and like I think it's the sheriff are like questioning her, and they say, do you know like who like attacked you, whatever? And she said, or who saved you? And she says, well, he can tell you right over there. There he is, and he's behind the door. And the door like opens, and he like goes back against the wall, and she goes, hey, Boo, like that. Like, it's so sweet. And Atticus introduces her and says, Jean Louise, I'd like you to meet, I'm gonna start crying just thinking of that movie. Mr. Arthur. I can't remember what his last name is, but it makes me sad. It reminds me of my mom. My mom would make chili dinner in the fall with like raw apple muffins, and we would like crush crackers into the chili. And I was telling someone this the other day because they were like, this was at my meeting, and they were like, chili is not meant to have noodles in it. I'm like, what? They're like, chili is not meant to have noodles in it. Chili is meant to be like just, whatever. And I know that like people want to get into arguments about this today. This is what I was talking about the other day when I said about done with conversations. That when people want to argue with you about well, you're coming over here, aren't you? Look. About whether chili is with noodles, macaroni, or whatever, or if it's just alone. And they go, no, you're wrong. How can I be wrong when that's my experience and that's my taste of what I like? I'm not wrong. It's what I like. You know what I mean? So anyway, but this friend of mine was like, well, I don't like noodles in it, and that's not real chili. Real chili is when it's just like beans and, whatever. And I go, oh, okay. And I said, what's so funny? And I was just like trying to share this story, and he started laughing, and he was like, well, that's not real chili. He knew. He was like, I go, okay, well, that's not real chili, but I'm just sharing my experience with you. Anyway, he was like, no, that's how my wife makes it. We got laughing. But anyway, But he, hold on a second. This is, oh, Alex is leaving, so I'm going to stop this and I'll probably finish it when I get home. But, so anyway, I was telling him, I said, you know what's so funny is, when I started going over to people's houses, like, not like when I was in high school, but like, I don't know, 10 years ago when Alex and I would go over to like Caroline's house, Melissa's house for like chili dinners, they would always like make macaroni and have like for macaroni and cheese and have like macaroni that you could put in your chili too. And I love it. I love so much like having macaroni, and I love macaroni and sour cream. I like all the fixings in my chili, okay? Frito-Lay chips. I love the Frito-Lay chips. I don't know why. Like, that's something that I used to back in the day would think like, oh, I can't stand this, but like, I love it. So anyway, but I do. I love the Frito-Lay chips. I love it all. The onions and everything, right? But when I was growing up as a kid, my mom, she would make chili, and her chili was, I wouldn't say it was watery, but it was more liquidy than anything else. And, she used like a Chili-O packet, which apparently is just like you buy it from the store. Because I remember like my mom's chili is like some of the best chili I've ever had. And I remember one time I said something to my mom about I loved her chili so much, and she said it's just like it's the recipe on the back of a Chili-O packet. That's it. Well, she would use spaghetti as noodles, and she would like mix them in with the chili, actually like long spaghetti noodles. And you know what's so weird about that is, to this day, I haven't really met anybody else that uses long spaghetti noodles. Does anybody else out there do that? I'd be interested to know. But I kind of miss that. I'll have to make it some way. I think maybe I did make it like that a couple years ago, and Alex was like, this isn't how chili is. See the conversation, you know? Now, Alex's mom, she makes chili a way that I had never seen before. So she makes chili like on, you know, like in the pot and stuff like that. But then she makes white rice and puts it over white rice, which is really good. So the last couple times, I mean, that she's made chili and I've gone over there, I just have to eat like rice and butter and crackers because it's not like vegetarian chili. So, but she has made me vegetarian chili in the past. Yeah, because she's such a nice mom, isn't she? She always thinks about me with making vegetarian stuff. She's so sweet. And Caroline and Mike do, and Melissa and Jason do, and Aaron and Eric do. Everybody always thinks about Peter being a vegetarian. I do think it's so nice when I go places, you know, it's like, I mean, if I'm going to somebody's house or something, it's like, I want to enjoy it too, you know what I mean? And so it's so nice when people think about me, and they're like, oh, well, I got this for you. And it's really cool, like, when people will say, like, they went out of their way to, like, think about it. And I'm like, oh my God, they, like, literally went out of their way, and, like, I know, yes. And they, like, literally went out of their way and, like, thought about, like, well, I know that you like mushrooms because I love mushrooms. And so I made sauteed mushrooms just for you. Or I love Brussels sprouts and whatever. So they'll be like Caroline always makes, like, mushrooms and Brussels sprouts and stuff like that. And because I like green beans and all of that, so they'll always make me my specials that aren't my specials. That's what my aunt used to call her neighbors that would come Easter egg hunting, and that was like all her favorite kids in the neighborhood. She called them her specials. She'd say, you're my special. So here, this egg, it has a $50 bill in it. That's why everybody loved my Aunt Kathy, because she gave such fantastic gifts. But no, that's not the only reason, but she was so nice. But she would always say, you're my special. Yeah, Boo Radley. Well, you guys, I think I'm going to, Alex is going to be home here in probably like 5 minutes, so I'm going to get off here, and I am going to get ready so that when he comes home, I am ready to go. And then I'll probably finish on the front porch. It's not too cold outside today, and that way he can kind of relax inside the house and all of that. So, what is it, boobs? Oh, he heard me say dad, so now he thinks he's coming in. What? Yeah, you got your dinner. You got your dinner to eat. Did you eat your dinner? You didn't? Well, why not? You didn't want it yet? He eats at the weirdest times. It's so funny. Like back in the day, with like Boo, well, with Tucker and Pee-Pee, like Tucker and Pee-Pee, like they would like eat their meals. Like, I mean, if we put it down, like they ate right away. Tucker was like the best eater. Like he would eat his food like right away. And I think Boo Radley did it too, because I think he was worried that like they would eat his food or something. I don't know. I can't figure it out for the life of me. But now that they're not here anymore, he's like, he'll like eat a little bit. Like I put it down and he ate a little bit of it, but then like I'll go down in like an hour and it'll be completely gone. And then we'll put like another, cause we put like, you know, bags throughout the day, like 3 times a day. We'll go to, like later tonight. Like when he comes in from going outside, he'll like run right down there and that means he's hungry. And so he likes to eat like later at night. So I don't know. Tanya said that too. She was like, when he was at the hotel, the kennel, she was like, he's a good late night eater. Cause she would go in there and, you know, have him in the office with her and stuff like that. And so he would like eat late at night and whatnot. Yeah, you're a good late night eater. All right, so I will be back in 2 and 2 after I go to the Subway. Bye. Okay, I'm back. Did you guys miss me? We went to Subway and I got a foot-long veggie delight. I put my hoodie on because it's getting a little cold. It's not that bad outside. I mean, I could probably sit out here with just my hoodie on, but I put my coat on to go to Subway. I got a foot-long veggie delight and Hubler's lemonade. I might have gotten 2 white chip macadamia nut cookies too. I know it's bad, but they look so good. I really love those Subway cookies. Anyway, and Alex is inside and he is watching Andy Cohen, Watch What Happens Live, and he was eating some chips and some hummus, and then the kind of hummus that we have in the fridge is not the kind of hummus that he likes, so he was like, he like pulled it out and he was like real excited about it, and he was like, the roasted red pepper I think is what we have. He likes the supremely spicy is like his favorite kind of hummus, so we need to get some of that from the grocery store, which he was like, did you eat the other one? And I was like, I actually haven't eaten any of the hummus at our house in a while. And I was like, no. And I was like, the last time I bought some, I think the last time I bought some, because this was that Sabra brand, I didn't buy the Sabra brand. I bought like the Kroger brand or something like that, or the Fresh Time brand or whatever. I don't even know which one it was. But anyway, I do love hummus. I go through periods where I eat like tons of hummus, and it is so delicious. I love it so much. Did you guys watch my Peter Does Stuff channel when I made the gourmet sandwich and I put like hummus and oh, that was so good. I was actually thinking the other day that I should go in and find another, because I was like, you know, I like the egg salad sandwich, that I should go in and I should find another recipe of that like fake chicken salad that's made with the chickpeas. But when I made it, I can't remember. I think I thought it was good, but I didn't think it was fantastic. I can't remember. I'll have to like go in and watch that video. I mean, if I had thought it was that fantastic, I would have wanted to keep on making it, you know, so I didn't feel that way. I've also been like craving like curry lately. I don't know why. So a couple of those meals that I bought like have curry in them. So, oh, it's going out of focus. I was thinking about this when I was waiting for Alex to come and get me. I was thinking about like, oh, like what stories should I tell in my vlog and whatever. And you know, it's so funny because I feel like over the period of my vlog, there's probably 20 or 30 stories from like my growing up and everything that I have told over and over and over again. Like when I think of like stories, you know, I think about like going to Saugatuck in the summers with my dad, like for the sailboat, or talking about being bullied when I was growing up in school, talking about like, you know, growing up on the cul-de-sac and everybody playing baseball and me being with my 2 girlfriends, Jessie and Katie, and you know, popping our gum and stuff like that. I feel like there's like 20 or 30 like mainstay stories that I have told like over and over again. And I was thinking, you know, it's interesting, like I wonder why those prominent moments stand out in my history of my life. Like when I look back on my life, I wonder why, because I was thinking like, I wonder what stories I've never told on here before. Like there have to be stories from my life that I've never talked about, you know? And typically like when I tell a story, it's just because, you know, I'll be talking about something and then I'll have like this random memory of something and then it comes up. But I wonder why those specific stories, or those specific, not stories, but those specific memories come up over and over again. You know what I mean? Like, I wonder why, like, those have really, I mean, obviously certain things like being bullied while I was growing up, I mean, that was like over many, many years. So that's going to be something. And, you know, for like going to Saugatuck in the summers, we did that, I mean, every summer for many, many years. But specific memories that I had, well, growing up, like the summers in my neighborhood too, like that was every summer for, I don't know, from age 5 or 6 all the way until I was like 12. So it was like 6 years of my life, 11 or 12. I'm trying to think of like an example of something specific that I've been talking about on here. Like, well, I guess like even like talking about like dinners, when I was talking about like chili with my mom, and then the other night I was talking about like my favorite dinners that my mom would make when I was a kid. I mean, that goes over the course of my childhood too, and talking about, you know, when my mom and I would go to church on Sundays, and then we would come home and we would stop at Rosalind Bakery, and she'd let me get like a couple donuts and cookies and stuff, and then we would come home and have lunch. And I think that's why I still love Sundays to this day, because Sundays were just so relaxing. And, you know, she would make like that Mrs. Grass, I think it's that Mrs. Grass's that has the gold egg in it, and I would always want to put that in the soup. And she'd make like tuna fish salad sandwiches and, you know, or peanut butter sandwiches or something. And, but that, again, that was, and I would sit there and I would like read the cartoons while I was eating my donuts before lunch. Like that, again, was something that happened. I can remember my dad, before my dad left, before my parents were separated, I can remember my dad, like us coming home from church, and my dad stretching out on the couch on the porch and like reading the paper while my mom was making lunch. And then we would all sit down together, like the three of us, and we would eat lunch. And so that had to have been when I was really young that I remember that. I don't know, I think it's just interesting, you know, the memories that you remember over time. It's like right now, like it's just like as I go through, like I'm going through my head like of these memories, I'm remembering when I moved into my apartment. I think it would have been like my first year that I lived in my apartment, my first year or my second year, I had a Halloween party. It wasn't a lot of people, it was like 10 people. And it was a like you had to come like dressed up as your favorite celebrity. And I remember my friend came and she dressed up like Cindy Crawford as the Pepsi, you know, like the Pepsi ad, and she carried like a Pepsi can and all this kind of stuff. And I remember like this strange, I don't know why I remember these specific things, but this friend of mine who has been trans now for 15 years, maybe longer than that, has been transitioning. And I remember at the party, she was with her boyfriend, which I don't even know where he's at today. I mean, this was like 1991 probably. And her boyfriend had bought her very first wig, and she was really excited about it. And that was like big talk at the party, was this wig. And I don't know like why I remember specific things, but I don't even really remember, other than I don't remember who I was at the party, like who I dressed up as. I remember my one friend dressed up as Madonna in the Express Yourself video. And then we all went out afterwards. We all went out to this gay bar it used to be around. It was called NYC back in the day. Yeah, I don't remember who else was at that party. I remember who I was dating. I don't remember what he dressed up as or who he dressed up as. I have the pictures like in this big plastic bin in the basement of all of these. I have so many pictures. I took so many pictures from that period of my life. Like from when I moved into my apartment until when I got sober. I mean, I like took pictures constantly and was always, it's so funny to think about that too, about like, you know, like having like the, you know, the the photographs of your life. And it's like, I would, like, over a weekend, I would take like 2 or 3 rolls of pictures and then get them developed on a Monday. And it was so fun to like look at them. And it was always us, like, you know, I have a lot of like pictures of me like drinking and partying from back in the day. It's kind of strange looking at them sometimes. Like, it's not like I look at them very often. I don't pull them out that often, but I mean, it's always like me with my arm around somebody, like holding it and going, you know. But it doesn't, like, it never makes me crave or like miss that life. It doesn't make me like miss that life or think back fondly about it. If anything, it's almost kind of like, it's strange. It's like, I don't even know who that person was. Like, it was almost kind of like I was somebody completely different, like, during those moments. And that would be like, if I had because like my apartment was a party place, like, not a party place, but I mean, I had, you know, on weekends, it was, people would come over and we would like party there before we would go out, or, you know, people would come over and we would just party there and not go out sometimes on the weekends, but very rarely. We usually went out. But it wasn't always like, you know, 10 people. It was often just like me and one other person, or me or 2 other people, and we would take a lot of pictures. And my roommate at the time, the one that lives in Berlin, she and I mean, I have so many pictures of her like doing her makeup, sitting on the floor in front of her makeup mirror doing her makeup, and us just sitting there talking and like drinking. And I don't know, but it's weird, you know, like looking at those pictures, it's like myself, Peter, from like myself, a different, like, I don't know who that person is, you know? Like, I don't look at those pictures and they bring back like I don't look at them and I think to myself, I don't really know what I think when I look at them. I don't know. I look at them and I just think, you know, like, it seems like a different world. It seems like a different life. It doesn't seem like my life. It seems like somebody else's life that somebody else lived, you know? And I think that much of my addiction really seems like that. It really seems like it was like somebody else's life. That, I mean, when I have memories of things that happened, it's just like, I think that, and I think also, well, it seems like memories that like somebody else had, or somebody else's life, like that. I don't know how to explain it other than that. It doesn't seem like, you know, like Caroline and I went around the other day for Cousin Fun Day and drove and did all these errands. Like, it, you know, or I can remember, you know, when I'm just pulling out memories, like when Caroline's mom died and I was like talking to her, we were at the funeral and things like those are very vivid memories to me. Or, you know, when Alex and I went on our first date, or, you know, our first trip to Florida. I mean, those are very vivid memories for me. You know, even things to do with like my ex and my ex before that. Like, I mean, I have a lot of like really vivid memories from those times, or friends from the past and things like that. But that whole using period is very, very hazy for me. And I think that part of it is, I think, you know, as the farther that you get away, like, I heard somebody say this one time, and I really liked it, is like the further that you get away from the event that brought you into sobriety, the easier it is to minimize the effect that it had. I don't think that I've like ever forgotten, like, really in the profound nature of like how bad my drinking really was and my drug use. I mean, drinking was something that went through all of it. The drug use was like here and there, but the drinking was something that was like, I mean, I smoked pot every day, and ate pills every day, but like the drinking was, I mean, hardcore, constant, all the time for years on end. And at such a young age, and I think that because I was a blackout drinker, and because I would get up and start drinking at such an early time during the day, I think I just lived in this constant drunken haze for many years, especially like my last 2 years, and didn't really realize at the time, you know, I don't know that I really had any clue how bad it was. I think, in fact, it was only like years later that I was like, oh wow, like when I would hear other people's stories, you know, other people that were much older than me that had been drinking a lot longer than me. You know, there's people that will say in recovery, you know, they'll say like, I spilled more alcohol than you ever drank because they're so much older or whatever. But like their drinking careers were nothing compared to like how much I had drank or how much I was drinking, which you don't have to, that doesn't mean anything, right? Like you've just had to have had enough. But then when I look back on that and I think, okay, and that was me at 18 drinking alone. That was me at 18 drinking alone, you know, in this like explosive manner in my apartment by myself, you know, like watching a movie in the living room, to the point where like I can kind of just remember like going sideways to the bedroom where I like fall into the bed and pass out, you know. And I think, God, at 18, how sad is that, you know? Like, so I don't know, when I look at those pictures, it's like I don't even really kind of like remember some of those times or those things that happened. I do wonder where some of those people are, because many of those people that are in those pictures, like I have no idea where they're at today, and I haven't seen them or heard from them in years. I mean, I really stopped like partying and being social. You know, for a while, I didn't go out for a long time, and then when I did start going out, I didn't start going out like I had been going out before. And I was, of course, you know, hanging out with different people, and so by that point, a lot of the people that I had been friends with or whatever had moved, and we didn't really have that sincere a relationship to begin with. So it's like some of these people in these pictures, like, I mean, some of them, obviously, like the girl that I was talking about from like the Pepsi, it's going out of focus again, the girl in the Pepsi commercial, or the Cindy Crawford dress up celebrity. I mean, she was one of my friends from high school, and she's still one of my friends today, and so we talk every once in a while and stuff like that. But like, yeah, it's just like, but there's other people. The friend of mine that dressed up like Madonna, I found her several years ago through social media. It took me, I mean, to tell you, it was so hard to find her through social media. She's not anywhere like on, well, she is, but like her name isn't anywhere on social media. But I could remember her sister's name, like her sister's like married name. And I also remembered the town that they were from and what her dad did in that town. And so I like started Googling his name, and he had passed away, and I found his obituary, and it had both of their names listed. And then I found her name off of her married name off of that obituary. And then I found her on Facebook, and then I reached out to her, and that was how she and I reconnected like years later. Which, here's the weirdest thing about that. That was probably, I don't know, like just like 2 or 3 years ago. And she was like a really, really good friend of mine at one point, like diehard friend of mine. The last time I saw her, she was getting ready to move with a boyfriend, somebody else that a boyfriend that not the guy that she's married to. But she was getting ready to move. I had been sober for about 2 years, and I was just like at my apartment. No, that wouldn't have been true. It had to have been a lot earlier than that. So I lived in my apartment that I got sober in for like another year. When did we move out of that apartment? It would have had to have been in my first like year and a half, but it was like right before the end, before we moved out. Because there were like, I can remember like we were like, I was like getting ready to move. And I was just like standing in my apartment one day, and there was like a knock at the door, and it was her. And I hadn't seen her in like, since before I got sober. And before I got sober, she and I had like a falling out over my using like 6 months before. And so I hadn't seen her for like 2 years. So she didn't know that I was sober or anything. She didn't know anything about it. And she came in, and I was like, hey, it's great to see you. And we were talking, and she was like, well, I just wanted to tell you that I'm moving, and, you know, I just wanted to, you know, like, even though that things ended horribly, I wanted to thank you for your friendship, and, you know, whatever. It was like this really sweet conversation, and I said, I said I got sober on December 17th of, whatever last year, and I said, I really owe you like a huge amends, and I did not process with my sponsor first, which they always recommend that you do. But it was this moment that I was able to have with her, where I was just able to sit down and talk to her about, the ways that I had like harmed her by like my drinking and my drugging use, and using, and she was really receptive to it, and it was awesome. And they talk about that, about like that, or we talk about that, is that like when you make that amends process, it's, so that you can continue to walk on, and clear up the wreckage of your past. And I've had so many awesome opportunities to do that in my life, and I'm so grateful for that. And those are not easy moments, they're not, but I don't know. I used to think that amends were for the other person. I don't know that I think that today. I do think to some degree it frees that other person from anger and hostility, but if they allow it to. But I also think it really, amends are for the addict and the alcoholic as well, mostly because it allows you to move on, and it allows you to clear up the wreckage of the past and not have to worry about that stuff anymore. So anyway, so when I reached out to her, like all of these years later, it was weird. It was like a completely different kind of conversation. I mean, it was a nice conversation, but as I've gotten older, it'd be interesting to know for people that are like close to my age what they think about this statement. As I've gotten older in life, I have found that when you reunite with people from your youth, and by youth I mean like if you're like 50, like my age or in your 50s, and you reunite with people that you haven't seen since you were like in your early 20s, and by early 20s I mean like, let's say 23, 24 and before that, okay? Maybe friends from high school, things like that. They have either done one of two things. They've either stayed completely the same, like their mindset is really very similar to what it was back then, or they have drastically changed, and they are drastically different people today. And she was drastically different. Like, I was like, I don't know this person. Like, it was just like our conversation was kind of bizarre, and it was still very nice, and she was sweet and whatever, but I just was like, she has changed so much, because like one of the things that people tell me is like, I mean, other than my using, but like when I first got sober early, like people will say, my friends from high school and stuff will say, oh my God, Peter, like your zest for life and your passion and all that stuff, and you're being funny and whatever, like, and your wit and your humor, like none of that has changed. Like, like that's all kind of stayed the same. And I think it's like, it was interesting. Somebody did, it's not really a tarot card reading. I don't know what it is, but it was like this board reading. I found the video on YouTube. You can search it. They did it with, put my name in the title. But anyway, I don't know who this person is or why they picked me or whatever. But it was interesting because they said in their reading that I have kind of this like child, they said there's two different, there's a childish and a childlike, and if there's like a childish attitude towards life is that like you just like see everything as a child, but like a childlike attitude is that you see things with like wonder and awe and things like that, and that I see things with like a childlike. And that's not the first time that I've ever heard that, and like a lot of my friends from high school are always just like, Peter, you're just always like such a dreamer, and which is the quote that I put on my mom's gravestone from the Beatles. Some say I'm a dreamer, I'm not the only one. Or you may say I'm a dreamer, I'm not the only one. Whatever that quote is. I should know that, right? I should, but I don't. But yeah, it's like, I feel like some of my friends, like, okay, my friends that were twins in high school, they came home several years ago because their dad passed away, and like they were like exactly like how we were in high school and college. Like it was like nothing had changed, and we like hung out with our friend and like got pizza and stuff and drove around and listened to music, and it was like nothing had changed. It was like so fun, But then it's like other people that like I reconnect with or reunite with, and maybe it hasn't even been that long. Maybe it's just been like 10 years, and they're like so drastically different. It's like I'm having a conversation with them, and I'm like we used to know each other like really, really well, like call each other every day, talk every day. Like I don't feel like I know you like on that level. Like you're not, like what's the disconnect here? It's hard, I think that's one of the hard things about sometimes getting older is that you don't necessarily connect with the people of your youth or the stories of your youth in the way that you did. I don't know. And you know, like, I became friends with Tanya. We were talking about this the other day. So I've been sober 28 years. Tanya and I have been friends for 25 years, which means I was 3 years sober when I met her. I think it was more like 2.5 years sober. And so let's just say I was 23, okay, because I was 22 and a half when I got sober. So 23 to 24, 24 to 25. So I was 25 years old when I met Tanya. Other than Tanya, like, I haven't, like, she's the only one, like, and my roommate that lives in Berlin now, like, she moved away right before I met Tanya, and so, like, she, like, exited my life, and Tanya came in my life, and that's kind of, like, the dividing period of, like, my life a little bit, which is strange, and, but I'm not super close with, like, friends of mine from high school and that era. I really thought I would be, you know, at this age. I thought those would be my diehard, you know, ride or dies for the rest of my life, and they aren't. But we're very different, I think. We've, like, I don't know. Or they've moved, or a lot of my friends have, like, moved far away. So, I miss some of my friends. I think, you know, also I think it's different, like, making time for people. You know, there's a friend of mine, like, the Pepsi girl, the Cindy Crawford. She and I always talk about how we're going to get together for dinner and stuff like that, and we just never do. We did a couple years ago, and then it's like, I mean, she lives real close to me. I mean, she literally lives probably 5-minute drive from me, and, like, we never get together. So, and she's busy and, you know, whatever. So, and, you know, a lot of my life is about recovery and hanging out with Alex, and so I should make time for that. I should, you know. I don't know, it's weird. It's weird as you get older and the friendships that you had in your youth. And I know that some people don't care about that, and some people are like, I don't care at all. And then there are other people that are like, I've had the same friends since I was like 5 years old and whatever. Tanya actually has like 2 friends that she's known since she was very young. Not like 5, but she has like one friend that she was like good friends with in high school, and but that friend lives in like Arizona, and the other friend of hers is her friend whose husband passed away. That was the first house that she and Eric moved into, and they lived next door. And so and I think that was before Nick was born, and Nick is he 29, 30? He's 29. So that was like 29 years, 30 years ago. And Tanya's been good friends with her ever since then, you know? I think that longevity of a friendship is really cool. You know, it's like, I don't know, it's really cool when you start having those long-term relationships that people really, they kind of know your history again. That was something that, like, my first year or two of my vlog, I talked a lot about, that, you know, it was really hard for me because I was like, as I move on in my life, and my mom's passed away, my dad's getting older, and my aunt's gone, my uncle's gone, like, who knows my history? You know, who knows the history of my life? It doesn't bother me as much as it did then, because I think that all the people in my life know my stories, because just like this vlog, I tell my stories to all the people in my life to the point where they get tired of them sometimes. Alex will, like, I'll start telling a story, he'll like, and then he'll like finish it for me. I'm like, just let me tell the story. He's like, you can tell the story if you want. He's like, I've heard it 10 times. But he just laughs and whatever, you know, but I don't feel that way so much anymore. I feel so blessed to have the people that I have in my life, you know, so even though I don't have tons, I, you know, just have a few. And I was saying that to my friend Valerie yesterday on the phone, and then we ended up hanging out last night, and she said, you know, she said, I know it seems like you don't have a lot of people in your life sometimes. She's like, but there are people out there that have no one, literally. And I was like, oh, I'm completely aware of that. And I feel so grateful for the, you know, 2, 3, 4 friends that I do have, you know, and the relationships that I have in my life, like with Caroline. I'm so grateful for that, you know. So anyway, this is going to stop here in like 40 seconds. I don't even think I can finish it in time. So anyway, thank you for hanging out with me tonight, and I hope that you guys are having a magically amazing Monday, and that this has been a fantastic beginning to your week. And if nobody else has told you this today, I love you. And remember these 3 very important things. 1, you can start your day over whenever you want. 2, practice random acts of kindness, but shh, don't tell anyone. And 3, most importantly, make sure that you reach out to somebody and let them know how much they mean to you. You'd be putting a smile on their face. I'm just going to stop it now. Hold on. I'm not going to speed my way up. Hold on a second. I was speeding through that because I was trying to get it and done in time before the camera stopped. I'm not going to do that. Anyway, and 3, most importantly, make sure that you reach out to somebody. 3, most importantly, make sure that you reach out to somebody and let them know how much they mean to you. You might be putting a smile on their face, changing their day for the positive, making them happier, or just cheering them up. And also be kinder to one another, love one another a little bit more, and be kinder and love yourselves a little bit more. And I love you guys so much. And like I've said the last couple days, if you're going through something and you're having tough days, I really, really hope that things get better for you. And I feel it in my heart and in my soul that they will. So put one foot in front of the other and take care of yourselves. And I love you so much, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye. Love you. Oh, and for those that need to hear it, and those that want to hear it, and those that just happen to stick around, one more I love you. I love you guys, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye. Love you. Happy birthday, Lena.